cool.
Welcome back, Fun Fam, and if you're brand new to the channel, welcome in to Follow the Bradleys Fun. This is an evening dish, a nighttime edition, a supper edition of the Daily Dish. That is, which is what the background is right now. And this is going to be so different. This is my first time hosting a panel-oriented show. So everybody please bear with me. Because the things that we have happening, we got a lot of people, a lot of guests on the show. I'm very excited. Before we even get going here, it looks like we've had some early support on the channel, which I really, really appreciate. Ruby Hoove is out there and has gifted a membership to the channel. Thank you so much, Ruby Hoove, for that. We, of course, celebrate all donations, help for the support for the channel. We celebrate that, and let's go with celebrating our first one of the night with Ruby Hoove. Thank you so much.
Too much? Too much? It's a birthday!
Oh, this is just the best of us. Equus Hart, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello to everybody that's coming in. James All Day is here, and Tom F. And my beautiful wife, Virginia Bradley Adventures, is in the chat. Phil Metzger is here. My mom, Kathleen, is here. Hello to everybody. Go and Shogi. Our great mods are in the chat. And so Jess Hart's Theme Parks is here. And I think she's one of our guests tonight. We've got a huge panel. Guys, I am a nervous wreck, got all of the butterflies in the stomach and all of that. But we're going to start bringing people on. I've never done a show like this before. And so if I'm a little bit in the form of kind of freaking out and don't know what I'm doing, please bear with me to have patience. Thank you so much. First on to the stage is our good friend, Bob. Comes all the way to us from the West Coast. That is the California coast. Bob from Berry Place 98 coming on board. You are muted, kind sir. Wait, do I have to unmute you?
Sorry, that was me. I had myself on mute.
Okay.
I was like, who's Berry Place 98?
28. Berry Place 28, not
Right.
98. Did I say 98?
That's right. You're good.
Oh my God. Look at your beautiful background, though.
I know. You know, in honor of what we're going to be talking about, I had to put on the beautiful Mark Twain behind me because, well, there's something that's not in Walt Disney World anymore.
Yeah, well, make us all jealous. At least it's still there. Speaking of which, we're going to go to a friend of mine who I share the parks with a lot, and he is always living his best life at the Kingdom. That is Dan's Life at the Kingdom.
Hey, guys.
Welcome in to Follow the Bradleys Fun. I don't know. I was just going to call the show Monday evening, and I don't really know what I'm going to call it yet. If we do it every Monday, we shall see. A guy that I met, I want to say, was it 2017 or 2018? Oops, Dan popped off there for a second. Anyhow, this is running his channel, and I think it had to be 2018 because I was just opening up this channel with the idea that I was going to go strong, and it just kind of didn't happen for a long time. I was still working for the Mouse at the time. I was actually working at Yak and Yeti Restaurant, which is where we met. This is Steve from Mouse Secrets.
Hello, everybody.
And man, great. I love his channel. They do a lot of shopping and helping people get good discounts on good Disney merch. And then we're bringing on to the stage Jess from Jess Hart's Theme Parks.
It's true. Hey, everybody. How are you?
And Jess and I met via Facebook. And then we've, you know her, you love her, you've seen her before, all the way from across the pond in Germany. It is Hanging with Erica and Raph. Erica from Hanging with Erica and Raph. How you doing tonight, Erica? Or today? Or no, it's really late there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's like,
2:09 a.m.
Oh my goodness gracious.
That's late.
Well, speaking of those that we call in the middle of the night or whenever it might be that they're out, when we're trying to do a seance and summon ghosts, this guy is our great ghost friend from the past, and he comes to us all the way from wherever it may be in the ether. It is LW Ghost.
Just so you don't call me the late LW Ghost, because I'm still here.
You are still here, yes. But you're in the ether.
Yes, I am, and it's knocking me out. But hello.
And at Universal Studios, I got to say, and by the way, I don't know how to manipulate the squares like Pro does. I haven't figured that part out.
I'm sure Jess is up to being the Paul Lynde square in the middle there. I think
yeah, exactly. But yeah. I was going to say your statue at Universal is like 10 feet tall.
I don't understand that statue. Why do they have him in that long kind of Sergio Leone Western duster coat? I mean, I never saw him wear that.
I don't know. But anyway, there it is. Speaking of guys in long coats, this is our pirate friend Tom F. coming to us from the coast. And coming to us all the way from Mexico City is that guy from that and the guy.
Good to see you. Monday fun day with Mr. Bradley.
All right, we're gonna get the chat off the screen for you, guy. My goodness, look at everybody's smiling faces. This is so exciting for me, especially somebody who really doesn't know what I'm doing. Thank you guys for being here and helping me out with this experiment of hosting a show with lots of wonderful smiling faces. We like to have fun.
Yeah.
On the channel. This channel is Follow the Bradley's Fun, and so it's all about fun. And we are going to be covering some fun stories and a really crappy one that we all know. that Bob up there at the top is rubbing our faces in all night while he's here. And I know some of you I only have for a little bit of time, so we're going to get through a couple of shorter stories here. This show, by the way, if you are watching right now out there on the YouTubes, this show is going to flow right into the evening edition of the WDW Pro show at 10 p.m. So don't change that dial. And I think we might even have some guests on here that are going straight from here to the Pro show.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
There you go. Lou LW Ghost haunting every corner of the internet. I see.
Oh, not every corner. There's some corners you need to stay out of.
Oh, we don't go to the dark web here. I want to bring. Yeah, go ahead.
Ghost traps.
Oh yes. So I think a lot of people don't know this about me. Now, on this channel, we cover pop culture and theme parks. Rarely do we cover politics, unless, unfortunately, that because we live in the day and age that we live in, it does unfortunately cross the path of pop culture and theme parks. But on this first story, it does not, thank goodness. But this is an interesting story because I know the person personally, and it's kind of an odd thing to me.
Your audio is doing tricks, Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Anyway, that's Ron back when he had hair, and Yakov Smirnoff back when he had hair.
Wow, looking good.
Back in the day.
Wait, Ron still has hair. doesn't he?
Well, yes, but not in the same places. Anyway,
Let me see if my audio switched.
there, better.
Oh, there
Yeah,
you
you're
go.
good.
Okay, am I back?
Yep.
Yes.
Back.
You're good.
All right. Yeah, I have no idea how StreamYard is going to hold up tonight. I may have to even switch my video to a different source to get cleaner, more smooth, less robotic video. But that is Yakov Smirnoff. Now, older folks like myself might know exactly who he is. Famous Russian comedian. He laughs like this. That's kind of his signature thing. Back in the day, of course, he was in a whole lot of movies when he defected to the United States, became a comedian, was in Moscow from what was it called?
Moscow on the Hudson.
Moscow on the Hudson with Robin Williams, and a few other movies back in the 1980s, early 90s. And then he settled by moving to Branson, Missouri, which is also the home of Silver Dollar City, sister theme park to Dollywood. So that is kind of how all of this stuff comes together to cross paths, where we cover Disney and Universal, but we also cover other major theme parks, and Dollywood and Silver Dollar City would fall into that category. Well, the interesting thing about Yakov right now is apparently at age 74, Yakov is about to become a new dad again.
Wow.
So we're gonna put this. We switched this one over to People Magazine. This is out of People, I saw the reason I know. I wouldn't have even found this if I wasn't friends with Yakov. We're friends on Facebook because we know each other. I have a lot of friends that work at his theater. And so he posted it, and I'm like, really? I literally found this like an hour ago. So comedian Yakov Smirnoff expecting baby number 3 at 74. Jokes, he'll get a senior discount on diapers. And one of my favorite Yakov jokes is, of course, he's like, his big thing, of course, he does this thing with Only in America. So he's always saying, only in America can you do this or that, right? So it's one of my favorite ones is, only in America, I come here, go to bathroom, and I see baby changing station. So I'm thinking, if you don't like your baby, he does this big joke about.
So my question is, so child number 3, but wife number what? What number wife is he up to at this time? To make this happen, biologically, to make it happen.
Is that his wife in the picture?
Yeah, so we're going to scroll down. Here's his wife. His wife is clearly younger than him.
And FYI, good for him, too.
This is reminding me of Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like, didn't De Niro just have a baby and he's like 80? I don't know. But here's the funny thing. 74 years old. He says, this time around, I'm not rushing anything. I am savoring it.
So that means no cesarean?
I'm assuming. This is by Kayla Grant, exclusively out of People Magazine. Says, things you need to know. Comedian Yakov Smirnoff is expecting his 3rd baby at age 74. Smirnoff already a dad to 2 adult children, Natasha and Alexander, from a previous relationship. Apparently, that's one single previous relationship. The actor and writer 74 revealed the exciting news exclusively with People, noting that there's something magical about starting over. He says, Yakov is trading retirement planning for diaper buying as he prepares to welcome a new little one into his family. The stand-up comedian 74 and his wife Olivia, who apparently does not reveal her age, because I'm looking for it in the article, are expecting their first baby together, his 3rd, announcing the exciting news exclusively with People Magazine. At my age, most people are planning for retirement. Me, I'm buying diapers, not for me, but for our future child. Yes, my wife and I are having a baby. He tells people. People keep asking me, Yakov, how did this happen? And I say, same way it always happens, just with more stretching and heating pads afterwards. Ever the comedian. So there's a picture of him and his pregnant wife. Now I don't know her. I'm assuming he knows her from Branson. I don't know if it's a Branson audience or what. But like I said, I have friends who work at his theater. But I am just finding out about this, so I have no inside knowledge. Smirnov tells people that he and his wife were shocked, but in a good way, when they found out they were expecting a little one together. I have 2 grown children already, but they haven't had kids yet. So we figured we'd just go ahead and make our own grandchild. He jokes, we'll skip a generation. I don't know if that's how he, if that's how it works. But what do you guys think about this? That Yakov Smirnov is kind of starting over again.
Good for him.
Good for him.
I get it.
Let me tell anyone out there who isn't sure. Kids are wonderful and grandkids are wonderful, and you need some of that in your life. And I speak as 3 grandkids and 1 more on the way right now. So there you go.
I think it gives you real meaning in the second half of your life. And I think a lot of people nowadays are choosing not to or can't afford to have kids. So I think, you're definitely right. It gives you a lot of meaning in the second half of your life. And I think a lot of people are going to miss out on this.
Well, when people say they can't afford it, I want to know what they're affording instead.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I'm all for doing what you want to do, but I do have to ask the question. 74 years old, you may not have that many years ahead of you. Sometimes I just wonder, though, on the selfish side, leaving behind a child possibly so soon. As a dad, I would have to think about that type of things.
Yeah, I recently moved. I recently moved from Canada because I couldn't afford kids, and I want kids because I'm at that age. And I now live in Mexico City, and it's a lot more family oriented down here, and it is a lot cheaper, so I can't afford kids. So
I got 3 grandkids. I'm happy.
So is it more affordable than like to raise a family in Mexico City?
Oh, it is unbelievably cheap. Before I left Canada, I was really paying attention to prices, and a single banana, which cost 2 cents here, will cost $1.07 in Canada.
Okay. Yeah,
well, and of course, that kind of price differential exists within the United States too. I mean, when I escaped Hollywood and moved here to Tennessee, which is where I am, if there's a very interesting website I've mentioned on some of the other shows, but I will point it out to everybody. It's called city-data.com. And it tells you everything you'd ever want to know and things you wouldn't even think to ask about every city and town in America. And one of the tools on their website is you enter in where you live now by zip code or whatever, and how much your income is. And then you enter in the place you're thinking of moving to, and it tells you, based on basic stuff like food and fuel and insurance and real estate, nothing unusual, but the basics, how much that income will buy you at the other place. In other words, it's a differential for the cost of living. And at that time, my wife had a job, and so I just put her salary in, which was about $75,000 a year for us in Los Angeles. And I picked a town that we'd seen a house we liked in called Spring City, Tennessee, up the river from here. The difference was to get the same lifestyle in Tennessee, you needed only to make $26,000 instead of $75,000.
Oh my gosh!
So the numbers are huge, and it's got so many different reasons. Obviously, there's no state income tax here, so that's part of it. But yeah, I decided to pick something to compare with.
Well,
you use bananas, Nat.
For me, it's not so much about for me, it's not so much about the financial side. Clearly, I'm sure the guy is set up pretty well, and the child will probably be set well. I'm talking about not being there to raise the child.
Well,
At 74 years old, you're going to miss out on so many things that you need to teach that child. That I believe, I'm old school, that the father needs to be able to teach that child, daughter, son. So my whole thing is, of course, do what you want to do, but I have to ask those questions. I mean,
I understand your point of view. I
Not
think
from the
whatever you
financial
can-
side. It's all about raising that child, being there to guide that child.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And
But
of course, I don't
if you
know
can do some,
Yaakov.
and I don't know what Yaakov's genes say.
Right.
I mean, in my case, my mother is still alive at 97, and so I'm going to be here for a while if I don't get some unusual thing happen. But back to the financial, just an interesting little point. I picked what I thought was the ultimate same everywhere item. Not produce because that's local, not meat because that could be local, not dairy. I picked a jar, I forget what size, of Skippy peanut butter. Same everywhere, right? Absolutely the same everywhere. In LA, the price was $1.74 a jar more than it was in the grocery ads in Tennessee. $1.74. Now you multiply that by what? 20, 30, 40 items in your shopping cart every week? And sooner or later, that becomes insane. And that's things like insurance and regulation and all sorts of different things that have nothing to do, obviously, with the basic cost of the item. So where you are is important.
Some people probably won't like what I'm about to say, but me and my wife, we have these conversations a lot. And I think that in the United States, the culture, and it's global at this point, but we're being taught to have children way too late in life as it is. To me, like, you should start having kids in your early 20s. And if I could go back to Steve at that age and be able to preach that to myself, then my biggest regret probably at this point is waiting too long to have kids.
That's completely true. In Mexico, people have children at 16 to 18 years old, and it's a different culture down here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty amazed when I see younger people walking around with kids.
Yeah. We're Armenian, so like in our country, in Armenia, like it was normal for centuries to start having children at such a young age. But even now, that far away on the other side of the world, the Western culture has reached it. And even now, like in a place like Armenia, people are having children so much later in life. People are being taught that, you have to have your degrees, you have to have your corporate jobs, etc. And a lot of people are missing out on having kids at the earlier age.
Yeah, I agree with you. Early and often. Early and often.
So I may be the exception to the rule on this one because me and my wife didn't meet until we were later in life, and I didn't know if I was ever going to get married. But we met, and we had our daughter much later than I thought I would. But I will tell you, a lot of my friends struggled to have a family at a younger age. Nicer thing is that now they have the kids who are out in college, where I still have a very young one at home. But the difference is that we're not struggling and we're able to afford things a lot better. So, I mean, there's pros and cons of both sides, right? I think it's whenever it's best for you and your family, that is the time to do it. I mean, you can definitely have them younger, and if you can do it, great. But I also have a lot of friends who are divorced who couldn't do that. So to each their own, but I don't think there's a wrong or right way of having it. I mean, I'm glad that I had my daughter when we, had her, even though it was much later in life. But hey, it's whatever works for you.
Yeah,
I married into 3 sets of children, because, I mean, they're not mine, but they're mine as far as I'm concerned. But so there is that way too.
Yeah, I've got the same thing, Lou. I have 4 stepkids, as old as 23 down to 17. And I was 22 when I took those 4 on, and then I have one of my own. And it's kind of cool to have a 23-year-old all the way down to a 10-year-old now. You see them growing up and they're becoming awesome, like functioning adults on their own. And but we did get the opportunity to take them and do the things, the Disney vacations, the whatever vacations that we wanted to do with them while they were still kids. So it's cool to kind of see them all growing up and have that big family.
It kind of goes to like, Elon Musk always talks about. We're not replacing ourselves. My family, we fall into that category. I didn't have enough kids to replace myself. And realistically, the only way for us to have done it would have been to have started earlier, married earlier. And the culture that nowadays that we live in is that's not necessarily your young years priorities anymore.
Well, we don't have an intergenerational support system anymore, especially in the West, like Canada, the United States. I did write down a couple statistics here, which was Al Pacino had a kid at 83 years old with a 29-year-old, and Robert De Niro at 79 had his latest kid, and his wife is 45 years old.
Wow. So I mean, it's an amazing story. Like I think my mom had chatted. My grandma just passed away recently at 101 years old, and you never know the genetics.
Wow.
But to Steve's point, I think that's the biggest thing that I think about is being around as a dad for the kid. Like, it's more selfish for me. I don't want to miss out on any of the years or any of the experiences or the toddler. I mean, this is going to go into the last story, or at least a later story that we're going to go to. And I think about things like taking the kid on Tom Sawyer's Island. I just took Xander there for what will be his last time. But the cool thing about it is hopefully he'll remember. We can go back to Missouri where Yakov lives and visit the caves there, and the real caves and the real Tom Sawyer's area, and have him remember that it's those shared experiences. So, and there's another thing that happens. My stepdad had his children young. I think he was, 20. It was in his early 20s when he had his first kids, but his first wife, passed away in a car accident, and unfortunately, they also lost one of the children. And then my stepbrother, who was ended up having a stepmom. But my point to that is, there's really no age when you can know how much longer you have left, and so whatever it is, whatever it is, savor it and just be happy with whatever blessing that God gives you and roll with it, because that's basically all we can do.
Amen.
And like I'm rolling with the show tonight with all of you. So
I'm
thanks
sure
everybody for being here.
I'm sure they've had conversations too on, having, all the what ifs. We all have those conversations with our spouses and our partners. This is what we're going to do with the kids and whatnot. Who's going to be next of kin and all that stuff. I'm sure they've already probably squared away and discussed it too. And it's just, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're not guaranteed the next 5 minutes.
For sure.
Well, I used to teach jujitsu, and that's what was my passion for my whole life. And then my back went out, so I had what am I going to do? Everything I did in my life was physical. So that's kind of how I got into YouTube and production. But I also want a kid, and I'm really kind of sad I'm going to miss out on the experience with a kid, because there's no way I can do those physical activities anymore. So I definitely hear what you're saying, Ron.
Well, that's where AI robotics comes in. And we hope that you can get hey, talk to Riri Williams, have her build you a suit. I hear she has a deal with some guy out there right now with a bearded fellow. Let's not go there. I don't want to talk Riri Williams or Ironheart. That show, it's a whole different subject. I thought the show was going to be about a superhero. Turns out Riri Williams is a supervillain who is a criminal who's just out for herself, and literally the show ends with her making a deal with the devil. So that is
a happy ending. How nice! Oh golly, that Disney outfit and their family-focused entertainment just never ceases to disappoint, does it?
It's not ending. Part 2.
Oh, great.
No. I don't think that gets a part 2. I think that they'll resolve it in like some 10-second snippet in one of the upcoming Avengers movies. They have so much junk to resolve. But speaking of movies,
Did Constantine go in an exerciser or something?
What? Say that again.
Constantine going in an exerciser?
Yeah.
It wasn't Constantine. Yeah, but that's.
But I'm just saying,
But that's a crossover from DC, right? That would have to be a whole different.
What really gets me is all of these movies that focus on the devil by people who have zero religion or faith or anything else I mean, the devil is not in their vocabulary as people, but boy, what a great villain they invent, right?
Yeah, I still am waiting for the movie where he goes down to Georgia looking for a soul to steal.
Yeah, well.
And
it's 5 years this week, by the way, since Charlie Daniels passed. So I saw that on his website. But his music lives on.
Charlie Daniels was a great talent that I had the good fortune of getting to see live on a few occasions.
Me too. That was a show and a half.
We just saw the retirement of Black Sabbath here a couple nights ago.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that was great. The guys that watched that, it was fantastic.
I got to see Ozzy a bunch of times, jump around stage before he got where he was. So
somebody's got some police activity going on behind you.
I saw him probably about 20 years ago. It's probably one of the best shows ever been to in my life was Black Sabbath. I'll never forget it.
Nice.
Yeah, that final show had Guns N' Roses and a whole ensemble cast, so they really did it right.
Yeah, it was fun. I thought it was ironic too that they ended Black Sabbath on the same day that the Liberty Belle ended too.
Yeah. We lost funny. You never see the two of them together in the same
Black
place.
Sabbath for Liberty.
There you go.
Go figure.
Okay, I have a question for the panel. Has anybody out there seen Jurassic World Rebirth yet? Has anybody?
No.
Nobody on this panel.
No, but I did call the box office.
Okay.
I said it was going to be a horrible movie, but do well at the box office.
Yeah, that's what it seems like it has happened. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I don't really want to go to the movie theater to see it. To be honest with you, I trust Culture Casino a great deal, and I was on with him when he was giving his review of it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to waste my money. But
he did an interesting video earlier today where he said, yes, it made a lot of money, but maybe that's it. Maybe everybody who really wanted to see it has already seen it, and it's not going to continue.
This is probably.
I notice it now officially makes ScarJo the most successful at the box office actress in history.
Yeah,
they got her money.
Good for her. She's gotten her paycheck, and that's her paycheck staves off the male gaze apparently. So and she's got the gaze of her husband Colin. Is it Colin Trevorrow? Is that his last name? Colin? I don't know. Colin.
I don't keep track.
First,
it's not Ryan Reynolds.
No, it's it's the guy from Saturday Night Live. I can't remember his name.
Is it Colin Yost?
Is it Yost? It might be.
I think so. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't watch that. I only see the snippets on like YouTube or Facebook or whatever. But here's the headline: Jurassic World Rebirth hatches a staggering $318 million globally in its box office premiere. This is out of Entertainment Weekly, and it says Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, Jonathan Bailey led the sixth sequel in the Megafauna franchise to a decisive victory over Brad Pitt's F1 the movie. Although the way they're framing that doesn't look that good, but F1 did not have that bad of a drop. From what I understand, F1 is still going strong and probably will build an audience over time. That is one movie that I do want to go see at the box office.
You got to see it. It's really good.
This is by Ryan Coleman. And I'm just going to go over the key points real quick because we don't really need to go over the whole thing. Jurassic World Rebirth stomped its competition this weekend with a staggering $91.5 million. See, they say this $91.5 million opening in 2025. I don't think it's really that great for a franchise of this stature, but opening at the domestic box office, $318.3 million globally. How to Train Your Dragon continues to soar, while Elio continues to disappoint. That's no surprise there. And next week, James Gunn's new take on Superman is the only force in the universe strong enough to pose an existential threat to Jurassic World Rebirth. However,
I have mentioned a couple of times, but it's worth repeating, I think, that you have to calculate Jurassic World Rebirth a little differently than these other movies, and here's why. We always talk about how much it costs to promote them beyond what they cost to make, and how that makes the profitability that much more difficult. but to the degree that this movie's promotion is also promoting the theme parks and all of their Jurassic investment, including, by the way, the one that really blew my mind was when I saw that it was going to be part of the kid park in Frisco, Texas. I said, cute little dinosaurs for little children. But they're doing cute ones so they can grow the audience to come see the scary ones in Orlando and LA. So, there's a certain amount of reason to make it, even beyond making the movie a success, that the other movies that don't have that connection to theme parks will never have.
Well, and I agree, and that's the thing, that this franchise keeps going because it makes money well beyond the movies and does very well at the theme parks. Guy?
Well, yeah, I had a little bit of a theory about this, and I always agree with Culture Casino, but he had seen this movie a week before. He said it was bad, and I agreed that it was probably going to be bad, but he thought it was going to do bad at the box office. And I said, this is the classic comic book equation. They dumb down movies for a worldwide audience that necessarily didn't speak the language. And with Jurassic Park, kids are going to want to go see dinosaurs. They're going to tell their parents to go see dinosaurs. This was competing kind of with How to Train Your Dragon, but that's geared towards kids. So if kids are pestering their parents to go see a dinosaur movie, the adults will say, well, I can compromise and go see Jurassic Park. So you're selling 4 tickets there, 2 kids, 2 adults if you have a mother and a father. And on a worldwide exposure, the dinosaurs is what sold this movie, even if it was a bad movie.
And see, that's the discussion I was having with people about certain movies. It used to be that action movies made in the USA played better overseas because they didn't have as much dialogue and exposition. They were about the action. So the language barrier wasn't an issue. And then look at the what's happened to Mission Impossible, the new one and the previous one. I saw a review of the new one. Somebody said, boy, the last hour is spectacular. It's too bad you have to sit through those 11 hours of exposition before you get to it. Well, all that talk doesn't play overseas the way that and the comparison I made was to Spectre, which should have been the last Craig, and then they made that new one that was awful. But Spectre had great action, great stuff, and little bits and pieces of exposition that were just enough to keep the story moving. And that's the secret if you want to keep the international audience, I think. Because if you talk for 30 minutes or everybody sits around and navel gazes, you've lost it. You've lost it.
Yeah, you were saying about selling other merchandise as well. The funny thing is, I live right by a mall, so I'm always in that mall. And I didn't think Minecraft was going to be this huge movie. It was, but the kids, when I was walking around the mall, were huddled around all these Minecraft toys every time I went out. And when Jurassic Park came out, there's just this merchandise piled to the ceiling nobody's looking at. So I don't think the merchandise is selling like it once was.
Maybe not. Although, did you see the popcorn bucket? It's cute.
Oh, yeah,
it's cute. The little orange dinosaur with the Ben Grimm skin. That's a cute. I mean, I don't buy popcorn buckets, but if I was going to, that's a cute one.
I had to fix my my audio. Kind of went out there for a second, but anyhow.
And you just froze, right?
And the audio is... He froze.
I mean, ironically, like everybody always says, what's Jurassic Park at this point? It's monster movies, right? Like, that's what we want to see. We want to see the monsters, dinosaur action. From the reviews I've seen of this film so far, and I was actually just listening to one a few minutes ago because I knew we were going to talk about this, is that apparently not enough people die in this movie. Not enough people are sacrificed to the altar of dinosaurs. I don't know, but like, if I go see a dinosaur movie, I want to see some action or whatever. So if that's the problem, if it's I don't know, whatever the storyline is, this thing, I just want to see some aggressive dinosaur action. That's all I ask.
Well, it's making. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
No, it's okay. No, I think with a lot of these movies now, I mean, I was a kid in the 90s, right? Like, we grew up with dinosaurs for the sake of dinosaurs. It was fun. There was a storyline that, pulled you through it. But now there's a lot, not all, of these movies have a very specific message that they want to get across to you. And I think sometimes you lose the quality and the fun factor because they're a lot more focused on getting that message.
I mean, where do we get, like, on the panel? Where do we put the original Jurassic Park?
Oh,
Is it
top notch?
I mean, it's top
number
notch,
one.
It was
right?
a lot of
Top,
fun.
I seen that at the
Absolutely.
drive-in theater, and maybe it was the drive-in theater, but Jurassic Park was amazing. Nothing compared to it.
But
And
it
it's
had an amazing
rewatchable.
score. It had great actors.
Yep.
And, what was that tagline
Oh,
on the original Superman? You will believe a man can fly. Well, in that movie, you'll believe dinosaurs are alive.
Yeah,
There-
it was
Yeah.
it was so funny because I think it was the care that they were putting into the original Jurassic Park movie when they realized that they can do with CGI what they couldn't do with the stop motion, because that's what they were trying to use was stop motion. And they're like, okay, let's work it out. And then they worked it out. And so they put tremendous care into making sure the dinosaurs felt real, depending on the scene that they were in, because they were real in some time. The Triceratops scene was real. That dinosaur was a prop, a real prop, and it seemed to breathe, and all the hydraulics, all of that. And then you had the amazing CGI that was put together, and it holds up to this day as better CGI than some of the Jurassic Park movies that followed it. The only two Jurassic Park movies that I really like are Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. And I only like the Jurassic World movie because it was fun to see the park in operation. Like, you actually got to see that come to fruition. And then the whole premise behind the movie was really, really stupid. And let me equate it this way. It's the premise of that movie is the thoughts that the executives have that the real people don't have, that people were tired of dinosaurs. It's like saying that people were tired of Tom Sawyer's Island, or people were tired of Rivers of America. If there were real dinosaurs, people would not get tired of them that easily. But executives, park people, are always thinking, oh, what can we do that's new and better and this and that? And it's the thing with the competition with Disney and Universal. Disney is on the heels of Universal because of Harry Potter, and then they tried to become Universal by doing the Avatar land and the Star Wars land, and now everything's immersive, all these immersive lands. And I'm like, that's not Disney's forte. That's not what will make them compete. My favorite rides at Disney are the slow water rides, like the Mexico boat ride and Living with the Land, and the People Mover, and Disney being Disney. That's my I know it's a whole different direction than where we were going with this movie, but it just bothers me because people don't realize, like, the original Jurassic Park, going back to that, it's important. And sometimes when you do too much, you take away from the original. And that's the only thing that I worry about with these movies. The franchise will keep going on because dinosaurs sell toys. That's the bottom line, really.
This movie made enough money where they're going to make another one. If they can somehow get Spielberg back and focus on a character arc, I think it would do a lot better as far as the reviews go anyway.
Yeah. Any final words?
Get Spielberg.
Yeah. A lot of money.
Any panelists have any final words on Jurassic World Rebirth? We just talked about two birth stories. I just realized that.
As long as I get to hear the John Williams soundtrack, I'll be happy.
That's it's funny when I go into Universal Studios. Like, I typically will end up parking in Jurassic Park.
That's like 94, is he?
Yes.
John Williams.
Yeah, the best thing that's on Disney Plus right now is the John Williams special, the documentary about his life and music and how it got started. That's fascinating. LW, how many? Do you know any of these composers from like Williams or anyone else out of Hollywood that's a composer?
Sure.
Um,
I'll tell you who is a brilliant movie composer who has done something even bigger that probably most of you are not aware that he did it. I put on our Sunday show with Vash, and I can find the link and put it here too. the theme music for Celestial Park, for Epic Universe, is all Michael Kamen, who did The Last Starfighter and Remo Williams and a lot of Seinfeld, too. But boy, talk about a guy who understands how to take a theme, repeat it, alter it, change it, play with it, and make it something spectacular. I tell everybody, I've been sending that clip around, and I just said, turn down the lights, turn this up for 25 minutes, and just wallow. And I'll find it here somewhere. But
Steve,
anyway,
have you been to Epic?
Yes, twice.
But I mean, Danny Elfman did the monster stuff, and the others are all adaptations of the original scores, as far as Isle of Berk and Harry Potter and all of that, and Nintendo certainly.
But what I was going to say is, I think Tom and Dan and Steve, myself, we've all been to Epic. But, Bob, you've been to Epic too, right?
I have.
Yeah. So you can probably all of us can speak to this. When you walk into Celestial Park, you hear that music, and it did it not remind you of the kind of the first time you ever walked into Epcot in the 1980s?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it reminded me of.
You know what it reminded me of? I used to, back in the 80s, when Epcot opened, I had a recording Walkman, and I got there about 2 hours before opening and found one of those little green toadstooly speakers in the planters outside the front gate and recorded that whole Future World loop.
Well, that's cool.
Because I loved it so much.
And the very first CD that I ever bought in my life was when I was 16 years old, and it was the park music for Walt Disney World, which at that time was only Magic Kingdom and Epcot, so it had all the original Epcot themes.
I still listen to the Disney, park loops and stuff. Sometimes I'm driving in the car.
It's
the classic
crazy.
Loops.
The classic
here's the link
music
over on the
Disney.
side here. And, put that in the chat, and you'll see. It's just, oh God, it's beautiful. It's just. And what really bothered me, I don't know if you saw that preview show that they did, and they played this for 20, 30 minutes, and you got all in the mood. Then they cut to an Xfinity commercial that was lousy and those awful hosts, and killed the whole mood that the music created. So they don't do everything right over there.
Before we move on to the next story, and I do want to get to the next story, I want to share these super chats. We've got member support here. Ruby Hoove gifted one Follow the Bradleys Fun membership. Thank you so much for that, Ruby Hoove. We appreciate that. And Kit Kat chimed in with $5 super chat. I like this late helping of the dish. Thanks, Ron and panel. Thank you for the $5, Kit Kat. We do have a goal on the chat. It's kind of a loose goal. If we hit the 5 supers, that is any level of support, 99 cents and up, we will keep our Monday night thing going, and I will hopefully get panelists, and hopefully I learn how to lead this thing over a period of time. Practice makes perfect, right? Eventually. So, but thank you so much for the support. We got to celebrate that with a little bit of dance time. And if you've watched the show before, custom emojis if you're a member of the channel, and if you're not a member of the channel, put some fireworks or dance emojis, happy hearts, whatever you want, because we like to celebrate together. Thank you. Let's celebrate.
Wait, you're not playing Celebrate Happy from Disneyland?
What's that?
I was enjoying that. Come on.
Yes. So let's get to now I have more stories than just the lead story, but I know some people have to drop out soon, so I want to get to like the main story that I wanted to get to. After this, we'll probably keep going with like a couple more stories about Superman and stuff, but first we're going to talk about the Tragic Kingdom. What else can I call it but what it is right now? It feels very, very, very very tragic. Let me see if I can get
I
this.
never knew a No Doubt album.
Ron, I'm still gonna call it Tragic Kingdom now.
Yeah. Let me see if I can. Where did it go?
Did I miss something? Did something happen at the Magic Kingdom recently?
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
Just a bit.
Oh, okay.
It's no longer magical.
The new flavored Dole Whip came out. I must have missed something.
All right. I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, man, this is tragic.
If a new flavor of Dole Whip came out, you'd have seen 17 press releases.
You're right about that.
I was going nuts watching all the press releases about the new test track at Epcot, talking about, well, they took out the old awning and they're finishing the new awning and it's blue and I'm going, the awning? Who cares?
It was awning.
Now, has any of our folks on the panel previewed Test Track yet? I'm curious.
I'm going.
You too.
Dan and I will be going Wednesday.
No, I don't want to get put through a door.
Okay. That's what I was listening to. I heard about the door thing. Yeah.
I want to suggest, if you want to read a really comprehensive and very well done, and I know everything he does is really good, but Pro wrote an article on that Park Place about Test Track and the revival of it.
Yeah.
That is so right on. It's just extra brilliant. Go read that one.
I'll read it. Mm-hmm.
And real quick before we move on here, I just saw this drop. Go and Shogi gifted 5. Follow the Bradley's Fun memberships too. Jesus A. Caballos, the Mum, Anthony Solardi, Maravita, and Samuel Main. Thank you so much, Go and Shogi, for that great support. And for that, let's give you a little bit of where is he? Culture Bear.
There you are, ladies and gentlemen, the best elbows in show business.
Look on Bob's face.
Elbows.
Never seen that before yet.
Oh, golly. All right. Let me get this on the screen. Hopefully it works this time. Yes, there it is. Out of that parkplace.com. Bookmark it if you haven't bookmarked it yet for all the news that should be fun. But this is not the kind of news that is fun. Unfortunately, this is this kind of news.
I have news.
What type of news is it?
Well, to be perfectly frank, it's bad.
Maybe if you tell me the bad news in a good way, it won't sound so bad.
The bad news in a good way.
Yes, I can do that.
Oh, well, here goes. Wait till you hear this.
Oh, wait till you hear this indeed. Disney wastes no time. Liberty Belle gone. Tom Sawyer Island already being dismantled at the Magic Kingdom, and it's off the map. Out of that parkplace.com by our good friend Marvin Montanero. There's Tom's Landing. Now, I don't know how many people have seen my vlog that I put out on this. My family and I, we went and visited Tom Sawyer's Island, the Liberty Belle, last Tuesday night for the very last time. And now it's all gone.
If you haven't seen it, go see it, because it's the only time outside of Adventureland where you get a really good look at the backside of water.
There's a lot of rain.
Poured on them, and God bless them for doing it anyway.
Yeah,
it was, but it was such a fun experience. I think that was the most unique thing about it, is the fact that for us, I don't think we'd ever been in a situation with that much rain, and I don't know. I wish Virginia, maybe you want to come in here and you can talk if you want. She's just in the other room modding, but. We had such a good time as a family. That's what was amazing about it. Yes, that was definitely an adventure. And we're we're going in the caves, we're ducking out from the rain. And the whole experience was worth it, even to get that wet, to have that much fun as a family. on this place that's never going to be around anymore, and it's just so it's so frustrating, and then they just got rid of it so fast. So the demolition of Magic Kingdom's historic Frontierland has officially begun. By the way, looking at the map, it's so weird because you see Frontierland marked on the map, and Frontierland is right next to or right on top of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is set in New Orleans in 1927, which is way after the American frontier, historically speaking. So as far as theming is concerned, the current Imagineers, I think theming, they just don't care about at all anymore. But the demolition of Magic
show that map with the green void where it used to be.
Do I have it?
I don't know.
No, I put it on my X if you want to. Let me share it real quick.
You can, if you have it, you can share it.
All right. Oops. Of course, that's when I click off my my X. There we go.
How does that work?
1 second. I'll share it, and then you'll have to put it up. So there we go. Give me 1 moment.
It's on the thumbnail of this, except that I put a little, I changed it a little bit so it has a label
There you
on
go.
it.
It's on the stage.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Add. Oh, I see. I have to do.
This is spooky. This map. This is.
It really is.
The eggplant that ate Chicago. You know, it's like the green slime has taken over.
The blob.
All right, there you go. So on the right is Rivers of America, and on the left is the way it shows up now on the My Disney Experience app. So there's beautiful water, beautiful rivers. By the way, still there. I don't think they've drained it. Yeah,
No.
Does anybody know if they drained it today?
No, it's still there.
No.
I did see a picture of construction workers dining on Tom Sawyer's Island today, having their lunch.
Oh, okay.
They look like they were having a great time too. Just
Yeah.
Bunch of anyway.
I got to jump off, but I just want to say this is a tragedy, and what I think about a good old C-suite. I just want to say for the sake of stream.
Where? There. I'm going to put you on there. Get your word in, Tom.
I just want to say it's a tragedy. It's ridiculous. Been going there since I can remember as a kid. A lot of fond memories, and I think what they're doing is ridiculous. It's a waste of an iconic part of the park, and it'll be missed. And they can kiss my butt. That's about it. I'm never getting another penny.
Yeah, you know what? I understand where you're coming from because, again, this is tragic. Part of the reason it's tragic is they're literally doing away with the filming, and Walt Disney himself designed Tom Sawyer's Island, and what they're replacing it with in cartoon cars is it's bizarre. Thank you, Tom, for joining us today. Everybody's great. Goodbye, Tom. Appreciate it, Tom. Check his channel out. It's got launches and all kinds of cool things on his channel. So, and I will put everybody's links in the description after this because I got to go through and see who all showed up, and I'll put all your links in the description. So everybody, go support these other channels. People, thank you so much out there. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, there it is. You pull up the map and look where Frontierland is. So right above Frontierland on the map, you see Big Thunder Mountain. Big Thunder Mountain is closed. Now, Big Thunder Mountain still will represent the frontier, part of the frontier. Nothing else in Frontierland is representative of Frontierland. Tiana's Bayou Adventure should have its own little New Orleans square. And then you got this, it's just so awkward with the DVC place and the Country Bears, and it just, nothing makes sense.
You know, just thinking from like a design perspective, like why not just leave the image there? You know, I know that you can't get on the river, you're not getting on the Liberty Belle, you're not going out to the island, but it is still physically there. And I would think it would be a lot better looking than just a green leafy blob in the middle of the map.
I can't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have to think the construction walls are going to go up pretty darn soon
yeah, and
along the river. What used to be the river
Yeah.
on the park side.
I don't understand why they just can't put Rivers of America closed. That's just closed for reconstruction, closed for reimagining, whatever they want to put. But you're right. From a design perspective, it's kind of bizarre on the map there. I'm going to switch, though.
In fact, wait a minute. If we look close, aren't those walls at the bottom along the sidewalk?
I don't know if those are
No,
walls
that's the
or if that's...
boardwalk.
Yeah,
That's that boardwalk
It's a
walkway.
walkway.
Oh, okay.
So
That's the walkways, like on the grass.
will they
It's-
also be
it's
doing away
horrible.
with the... I'm assuming they'll do away with that walkway. So I don't know where the
Oh.
construction walls are. It's going to be interesting to go out there in a couple weeks and see where they put the construction walls. I'll be out there for the parade a couple Mondays from now. And Dan, you're going to the first night of the parade. Is that right?
Maybe. My
Okay.
dad's birthday's on that day, so we'll
Oh.
see.
Yeah, I don't really know what they're going to do. Let me get this article back up. It's everyone I know says this is just like the dumbest decision Disney's ever made as far as our parks are concerned. It's officially begun. Disney isn't wasting any time. Just hours after the July 6th closure of Tom Sawyer Island, the Liberty Square Riverboat and the Frontierland Railroad Station visible construction activity is now underway. What was once the peaceful Rivers of America and the adventurous escape of Tom Sawyer Island is now surrounded by construction walls, rolling planters, and security personnel. The area is fully closed to guests with site prep activity already in motion. You got crews spotted on Tom Sawyer Island. We talked about them eating lunch out there today. Here's the picture of it. Construction crews already on site, actively removing props and set pieces from Tom Sawyer's Island. The island is now completely inaccessible to guests. I will say this: if the black bear returns,
Eat their lunch.
I won't say anything about that. The sign at the raft dock has been removed. All the guest rafts have been taken backstage. From the mainland, the visual change is stark. What once was an inland playground steeped in American history is now a guarded construction zone. The Liberty Belle Riverboat gone, which is crazy because I was watching Lorena's stream last night, and I watched the last sailing of the Liberty Belle go around, and people were singing. That the crowd was gathered. It was amazing. The Liberty Belle, which used to provide scenic tours around the rivers of America, has been quietly moved backstage to the marina. It's no longer visible from any guest accessible areas. Meanwhile, the dock in Liberty Square has been closed off using rolling planters and construction walls. Both exit ramps are sealed.
I really like that residential looking phantom door.
Yeah, looks like a
I was gonna
Johnny on
say
the
that
spot.
was awful. That's awful.
Goodness.
Look at that.
You still have yours, Bob. How would you feel if they did all this in Disneyland?
Oh my god.
You know what? First of all, I don't think it will happen, but I would be devastated because to me, you know, it's a big part of what Disneyland is. I mean, look at the other theme parks for Walt Disney World or for the Disney parks. I mean, they all tend to have some sort of River of America in their own way. And so the thing is, this is the park that Walt walked, right? And while the Rivers of America don't necessarily mean, you know, it's not all about America in the sense that, you know, when he was doing this building of Disneyland, he actually did the Disneyland show, right? And he said, hey, we're going to talk about Frontierland, and this is what we're doing in Frontierland. But the thing is, it's become the heart of the park in that area for New Orleans Square and, you know, for everything that's around it, Frontierland and whatnot. So I think it would be devastating to see that go away. And a lot of people, I think, would really be in an uproar. The problem I think we have here is that, you know, once Disney realized they could do this with Splash Mountain, well, we can pretty much do it with whatever we want. Now, granted, they're doing it over Walt Disney World. I'm not happy about that at all. It's really unfortunate they're actually doing this. What amazes me is, like you were just talking about, it's like, it seems like it takes Disney forever to do anything, right? They'll go, oh yeah, like, and granted, Tiana's Bayou Adventure was happening during COVID and whatnot, but it seems like it takes them forever to build a land, that's 12 acres that has only 1 or 2 rides. It's crazy. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know what? We're going to be getting rid of the Rivers of America. Oh, by the way, we're starting construction the day after. And it's like, wow, that was fast. I didn't realize you guys.
I think I can explain that.
Go ahead.
First of all, it's not construction, it's demolition.
Demolition, yeah.
And one of the things, being relatively unfamiliar with Tom Sawyer's over there compared to Disneyland, I'd forgotten until I took that tour with you, Ron, and your wife and your son, how many little artifacts and things are in those caves and in the fort. So they got to clear all that stuff out before they can bring in the bulldozers. Or else they just want to bury that along with everything else, and I don't think they want to do that. Ditto all the goodies in the little rooms on the riverboat. So that's all happening fast. Once they start knocking everything down and then they start rebuilding, that'll be another story. I don't think they'll be as fast. Happily for me, on my literal finale, adios, I'll never be here again probably, trip to Disneyland before we moved east, through a cast member friend, I got in one of my bucket list items and got to drive the Twain around the rivers. And I would show the picture, but that would blow my cover. And even do the little shave and a haircut whistle exchange with the train, which was kind of fun.
That's cool.
And God, that boat is on my wall. I've got a wonderful piece of art from the park of the Twain. And I can't imagine them doing that in California. The other thing that bothered me about all this, it seems to me there is kind of a theme park Hippocratic oath. First, do no harm. And it would be like this. If you're going to replace something, it better be better than what you're replacing. And we have no guarantee of that. When they first started talking about bringing cars to Disney World, I thought, well, great, they'll do Radiator Springs. And it'll even make thematic sense if they do it behind Big Thunder, in the sense that Big Thunder is the Southwest and Route 66 is the Southwest. And, it could be moving in time, but not in space. But nope. And we don't really know what's going to happen as far as what's going to go in. I mean, I happen to think that Radiator Springs is the last great attraction they've built. Yeah. It's really wonderful. And why they couldn't clone that, I don't know. On the other hand, it took them 6 years to clone Tron for a 2-minute ride and a queue with lights that don't work.
It's only 60 seconds, and it's always dirty.
60 seconds, yeah.
That canopy is, Dan can attest to this, the canopy.
And if you look at what's going on in Japan, where they're building a whole new Space Mountain and taking the old one out, the new one's the exterior almost done even before they've removed the old one. They move fast because they're willing to spend the money to do it and get it done. And
now I want to go over to Guy because you've got Canada, you've got Mexico. You're looking at this from an outside perspective. What would your view be of, like, hey, do we want to travel to Disney World? How is this as far as motivation for you? Does it do anything? Does it affect you at all? Does it matter?
Well, yeah, I live in Mexico now, and I grew up in Canada, but I lived about 10 minutes from Disneyland at one point, and I used to watch the fireworks from my rooftop. So it really does tug at the heartstrings, but it seems to me, and maybe I'm asking you guys a question, it seems the one advantage that Disney has over Universal is its history and Walt. And they seem to be moving away from that rather than towards it by taking out. The thing they're taking out is one of the last things I think Walt worked on, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he designed Tom Sawyer's Island, right? And it's both. It's in Disneyland, staying there by his design. But there were specific things Walt wanted that did not come to fruition until the Magic Kingdom, which was years after his passing. One of which was the Hall of Presidents in Liberty Square. That was something that Walt wanted to have happen, and you hear it when you go watch the show. When you go into the Hall of Presidents, the first thing they say is that this is something that Walt wanted. So it's really weird as a guest, because people ask me all the time, why do you still go to Disney? Why do you support Disney? Well, it's this weird phenomenon of there's things there that I still love. When I go see the Hall of Presidents or the American Pavilion or certain pavilions in Epcot, when I go to Mitsukoshi in Japan, I have this flashback of when I was a kid and we bought an origami book there at that store, and I can go back there 40 years after I was in that store as a little kid and go, I remember this moment. I remember that spot. It almost makes me want to tear up. And I want to be able to share that kind of thing with my kid. That's why, like that's to me the Disney magic. But I will never be able to share with my grandkids visiting Tom Sawyer's Island at the Magic Kingdom. And instead, they're going to put this thing in from the Cars franchise that my grandkids are very likely not to be familiar with. History is like with Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. That's history that should still be taught in schools today. Maybe it's not, but that kind of stuff to me is more lasting than a temporary IP like Cars.
And Walt had such an affinity for Mark Twain too. And let's not forget that Mark Twain is the co-host of the American Adventure at Epcot. And I was watching an interesting little documentary about the making of it, actually, just the other day. And Randy Bright, who was primarily responsible for the show, he said, well, we have to have a spokesman from the first 100 years, which was Ben Franklin. And we have one from the second one, which is Mark Twain. And when they tried to think of a third host, they said, we're too close to this era. We have to wait 20 years before we would even imagine somebody speaking for the third 100 years of America. And these guys nowadays, they think they speak for the third 100 years.
Over the last couple of days, I've thought about it a little bit. And, when it comes to Rivers of America, you're losing something that at this point is decades old. And I've thought about it. Obviously, of course, Disney's a private company. It's private land. They can do whatever they want with their Magic Kingdoms, their Epcots, butcher them, level them, turn them into a farmland, whatever they want to do. But at the end of the day, I do wonder, though, like at what point, being that some of these attractions, these lands, these structures are so old, they have some historical significance. And maybe at some point, we need to start viewing them as not like the parks are never complete. The parks are never finished. They're always evolving and changing. I get that. But there are certain things that have stood the test of time that have been there for so long that maybe they do have historic significance and that they need to be protected. Obviously, being private company, things are a little bit different there, but at least Disney maybe needs to start having respect towards some of these historical attractions that have been around for so long and just not be so ready to butcher them and fill them up and get rid of them or something. I don't know. I've thought about that. Are they historical landmarks at some point? Because if they're not, are we talking about another decade? Like we're tearing Main Street out. You know what I mean? Like there's some things that are really, really old that I think maybe future generations, 100 years, 200 years from now, might want to see. They might be digging underneath this new Cars land, looking for the footings of a Rivers of America or something. So
the problem is that Disney doesn't want to go that route, because when you mark something legally historic like that, they are bound to laws and policies. Was Ron, you could probably explain it better because you were a cast member, but the company is bound to upkeep the attraction, and they're kind of put into a box, and they can't update the attraction the way they would want to. They relinquish freedom. So for example, how they put in the Hatbox Ghost recently, they most likely would not have been able to do that if the Haunted Mansion were considered a historic landmark type of attraction. Disney doesn't like to
regulating
be
it from the outside is the wrong approach.
The
only way we can regulate it is by not spending our money.
Exactly. I don't mean like the government intervention. I mean that Disney should maybe start viewing some of these attractions though as a company, as historic landmarks that maybe they shouldn't be tampering with so much. And adding the Hatbox Ghost is fine. Knocking the Haunted Mansion down and putting up another Dole Whip stand, I might be a little upset with. You know what I mean?
Well, all you have to do is compare the original Disney Legends to the people who get picked for that now.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I was saying, compare the original Disney Legends designation of, the 9 Old Men and everybody else to some of these. They were famous in 15 minutes and gone in 25 people that managed to get on the list every year this year. Yeah. I can't name them because I don't even know them. But history is written by the victors. Is that the old expression? So they own it. They'll do it. And
well, everything is based upon an IP now, and I understand they want to cash in. But when Walt opened the park, some of the rides were IPs, but some of the things didn't have anything to do with IPs, and I think that was a little bit magical as well. Like, everything doesn't have to be an IP.
Well, the proof of that pudding is Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. Look at these enormously successful movies that are all based, in theory, around a ride. It's the reverse direction.
But if you think about it, most of the great rides that you have right now, Matterhorn, Big Thunder Mountain, they're their own original IP. There was nothing, built around that.
Matterhorn theoretically was based on that movie, but still,
loosely. Yeah. But the thing is that they were original, and it was so cool. Space Mountain, original. I love all these great ideas. The problem is we don't have those great ideas. That's the problem, is that we have too many IPs that are trying to be put in. Now, one of the other things I was going to bring up real quick is that last week on the Park Streamers show that I have, we actually had legendary Imagineer Eddie Sato on our show. Yeah. And we talked about, what his idea was. And I actually brought it up there if you want to on the X channel,
I've seen that.
If you want to see it, Ron, if you want to bring it up. And he actually shows, look, there's a way that Disney could have done this, because they keep saying, oh, we're expanding. No, you're not expanding, you're replacing, first of all. Yes. But it could have been just like this, if you want to bring it up, Ron, because it's really cool looking at this photo here. And when you look at this photo, you can see that he redirected the Rivers of America and the canoes. And look, you keep the whole Rivers of America, but you're also able to do Cars Land up here. You can do Villains Land over here like they wanted to. It's just another way of doing it. Obviously, there's different things they have to worry about and with the Utilidor downstairs and whatnot. But you've got this great, idea, and that he came up with this in like 15 minutes. He just sketched this out real quick on his iPad and put it out there, and it became viral on X. But my whole thing is, he had a great idea. Why couldn't someone at Disney do this? And I really fear that, unfortunately, we've lost pretty much most of the great Imagineers there at the park. They've gone to Universal, they retired, or Disney fired them, right? So they're no longer there. And so you have some of these people who still care about the park, like Eddie and Chris Crump and others, Chris Merritt. And they would love to see things, done differently, but they're just not. I mean, we just had Kim Irvine. She's retiring. She's leaving now. And so I don't see a lot of hope for Disney Imagineering at the moment. And it's really sad, because they used to bring in all the new people and show them Walt's legacy and how things were done. And that's not being done anymore. And now it's just like, well, we can just do this and we can do that. And it's not that they have to follow Walt's legacy, but the thing is, he had a way of doing things. And now what I see today, which drives me nuts, is I walk around the park and I see things not kept up, maintenance not done, paint that, is not touched up when it used to be all the time. And it just seems like things are slowly been falling apart at Disney. And that's what's driving me nuts the most, is that it just doesn't get the love and care that it used to. And it's sad to see things like this happening.
And a quick question, because I know you were here recently, compare Disney World to Disneyland. Did you feel like the maintenance was about the same level when you were in the Magic Kingdom here versus Disneyland out there? I personally have noticed a decline, especially over the last 5 years, but I'm curious about Disneyland, because I don't go there all the time.
Yeah, so I saw some similar things. I hate to say it, I saw some similar things over at Epic Universe, and that's a brand new park. Where the concrete was coming up, or paint wasn't done, or in the bathrooms the rubber seals were coming off the caulk inside the bathroom. It's like, what is going on here? But this is a brand new park. But the problem I have is that it used to be done a certain way, and now it doesn't feel like the parks are getting that maintenance that they used to, and for me, I definitely noticed that out in Walt Disney World.
Well, and I know you and I are both former cast members, and remember going through traditions and remember that point. Okay, guys, we want to ask you, who here is in custodial? Raise your hand, and then the people that were actually hired would raise their hand. They go, no, you're wrong. Everybody should be raising your hand. And then we all raise our hands because everybody that works at Walt Disney World or Disneyland is supposed to be part of the custodial team, because that's just what you do. If you see there, it's the Disney scoop, right? You learn the Disney scoop. If you see trash, you got to pick it up. That's I wish the standards were still were still in place, and I don't like seeing that going away. And I worry that with the removal of some of this traditional stuff too, we're also removing some of the standards as well. That it kind of, for me, I wonder if it all goes together. I have to question that. People, like I said, people always ask, if you like Disney so much, or if you don't like Disney, why are you doing any of this? And I'm like, no, it's not. It's like, gosh, I mean, I've grown up with this. I do this in the hope that we can get a message out there to somebody, that somebody's listening. Hey, we need to step up our game.
Once they got rid of two things. Once they got rid of the dress code, I think I noticed a little bit of a decline in the service in and out of the parks. I'm sorry. Sure. It is what it is. It is what it is. And the other thing, once the dress code went, I've noticed a decline. Sorry, I don't know. And the other thing I was going to say is, for Rivers of America, Liberty Belle, do we know if they've closed the massive merchandise location for that yet, that attraction? Because my thing, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of it in my mind too is probably like, hey, we can't sell any Liberty Belle merchandise, but I guarantee you the new Cars Land piston thing, whatever it's called, it's going to have the most ridiculous Cars merchandise location we've ever seen, right? Like, I'm sure Disney's just seeing the money signs. They're going to be able to sell tons and tons of Cars stuff.
They're going to sell traffic cones for $50.
There you go, traffic cones. There you go. Steve, traffic cones, play sets, and everything.
Okay, Steve, but you're the merchandise guy. Yeah. Okay. You know Disney merch in and out. You're around Disney merch all the time. Yeah. That's kind of your specialty. Let me ask you this. Yeah. When you go into the store for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, how many people are in there?
Empty. The stuff, you know what, Ron? Because I go to the discount places like the Character Warehouse. Tiana's Bayou Adventure merchandise was there within a few months of the attraction even opening. So
right.
You've got a lot of Marvel stuff there, a lot of Star Wars there, a lot of Tiana's Bayou Adventure there. I can tell you what doesn't sell, and I'm sure, and the mouse knows what doesn't sell either. Don't kid you.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's Oh, and I wanted to ask Jess. Jess, where are you located out of?
I'm in Ohio right now, but we're actually relocating next year, so we'll be down in the Orlando area as well.
Oh, nice. Stop off at Buc-ee's along the way.
I'm a Buc-ee's lover. Yes, we do a lot of road trips because of all the kids. We don't fly a lot, so we love Buc-ee's.
Well, I'm hoping. I wrote an article. I got my fingers crossed it'll be on That Park Place about Buc-ee's and how Buc-ee's might be a part of bringing back the road trip experience that kind of went away for a while, and now it seems like there's a resurgence in that. Dan, I want to go to you because I know you were there. Were you there for the final day of Liberty Belle of Tom Sawyer's Island? What was the last day that you were there on?
No, I was working that day.
That's okay.
The only thing that last day was probably June 14th.
Oh,
that was when I was with my family, my mom, my sister, and her sisters. We were on Liberty Belle. We went around. I didn't think it was gonna be my last time, but that's the last time I've ever been on it. I'm definitely gonna miss the view from the Liberty Belle, looking around. And when you're in the Liberty Belle, you're looking at the size of the land that they're going to get rid of. and you're just thinking, why? This is just ridiculous.
It's
They
pretty
have land
massive.
past. It is. It's massive. I mean, they could. I mean, I already saw the construction pass beyond Big Thunder. When you can see it from the monorail if you look at the right time, and then pass behind it. They could just put it there, but they're just not going to do it. I mean, that's called expanding. You know, the difference is Disney's not expanding; they're replacing. As for Epic, they're expanding. There's a big difference.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't. Maintenance should be kept up no matter what, but Epic does have a little bit of an excuse of being brand new, which means there are going to be a lot of kinks that need to be worked out. Where Disney's been around forever, and the question is, are they keeping up with it? It's just thank you. You didn't have to do that.
It's going to take time, but they'll get there.
Is this you, Guy, or is this Nat?
That's Nat.
I mean,
She's taking care of a family member in a different part of Mexico. That's okay. Mexican pesos, so don't get too excited. It's not U.S. dollars.
That's okay. I saw it come in and I was like, wait a second, is that you? I'm like, no, that's fine. Let's put that up there on the screen though. Wish I could have been there to discuss the desecration of Walt's legacy. No real creativity left at Walt Disney, unfortunately. Nat. Hey, 100%. Nat, I'm going to give you lots of chances because I'm excited to do this and bring this show to people for two reasons. One, I'm sick and tired of getting up early on Monday mornings, and I'm thinking that I'm going to switch the show to Monday nights. It's a good lead into the pro show, which is going to happen right at 10 o'clock as we finish up. And it seems like in the evenings there's more opportunity to get more people on the panel. It's people's morning schedules are just harder. So thank you very much. I got to give you some kind of what kind of a thank you can we? Oh, I like this one. You guys will love this. This is our. You'll probably think of Lauren Connor when you see this.
Afternoon, everybody. Afternoon, everybody.
It's classic.
Sorry, it wasn't supposed to play.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that one. It's that one's very, very cute. How do I get that off? All right, there we go. Thank you very much, Nat, and you're definitely invited to come on here. You and Guy do such awesome things on your channel, and I'm really, really enjoying watching your stuff. And it's been fun. As far as this subject is concerned, wrapping it up, I was leaving when we were leaving the Magic Kingdom. If you watch the vlog, you'll notice something that I said when we were leaving, and that is, Disney, please don't destroy Main Street. The Disney park, the Magic Kingdom and Disneyland, and perhaps the other parks that I haven't been to, are so unique in that way. There's no other park that has that representation. You don't have it at the Universal parks. It's not even at Epic Universe. When you walk through that initial gate, you read that sign that's supposed to be about the past and fantasy and the future, and you leave the world behind, which isn't happening as much as it used to, but you still kind of get that feeling. And you go down Main Street. When you're walking out of Main Street at night and all the lights are on, oh my, it's one of the most gorgeous things that you can ever see. And it warms the heart every time you see it. And this is the good Disney stuff. I used to call it Walt's firewall. There was so much good that Walt put into these parks that you don't have at other parks. And that's why people will continue to keep going there. But if they keep destroying things like Rivers of America and replacing it with something of lesser, then it's just not going to be as good. And that's my final thought. Erica, I know that it looks like you've got to get going.
Yep, I'm tired. It's my bedtime.
What do you want to shout out, Erica?
Not a whole lot on our channel, but if you want to check it out, you can. It's at Erica-Raff. We're just expats here in Germany. And we're early empty nesters, new chapter in our lives, and we're just trying to figure out and navigate this next phase. And our time is running short here in Germany. Anyway, Halloween's my big thing, but our channel's kind of been on hiatus, so best you're going to find over there is what we did in 2024.
No, but I like the castle tour and the stuff like that. It's really fun over there. So thank you for coming on, Erica. Have a very good night. Get some rest, and we'll see you
For
soon.
having me. Good night.
I'll have to head off too, Ron. It was very nice being here, talking to everybody. You guys have a swell, fantastic rest of your evening. This was fun.
Shout out your channel.
Mouse Secrets
Steve.
on YouTube.
See ya.
Make sure to check us out. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Bye, Steve.
if
Have a
folks
great
are
one.
wondering, I better wander to re-rack for the next show. So
Yes.
thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be had at my age by just about anybody or anything. I'm on every Sunday with Vash at 2 p.m. on our live show, The Hollywood Backlot with Lou and you. And then, of course, I'm here, and then I'll be later on the pro show right after this on Monday nights. And tomorrow, Tuesday at 3 p.m. on the 3PO show after the pro show. And other than that, I just sort of, I'm like Walt. I flit around like a bee taking pollen from different places. You know that famous line. Anyway, it's always a pleasure with all of you and those who I met for the first time tonight. Let's do it again sometime. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lou. We'll see you.
Bye, Lou.
Have a good night.
And then there were five.
Yes, the few of us that are left. So, and I'm trying to see if there's. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
I got a strange question for you because I was watching your intro, which I absolutely love. You had vintage clips of you in the park. I seen you had one with King Arthur's sword and the carousel behind you.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the conspiracy theory about that? Because I was watching a podcast the other day, and it just was just intriguing to me.
Okay, what's the conspiracy theory?
Well, the conspiracy theory, I don't believe it, but I think it's a great opportunity for Disney to have a marketing campaign. The conspiracy theory was the guy that designed Disney's kind of in a bowl. They put the carousel right in the middle between these ley lines, and it kind of brings up the energy, and that's what created the magic. And in 1982, they moved the carousel, and they put King Arthur's sword there. That was kind of the marker of where the carousel used to be. And I was just thinking, like, Disney needs to lean into its history, maybe lean into some kind of viral campaign of bring the carousel back to the stone and restore the original Disney park, because it's one of the smaller parks compared to Disney World and stuff, to its original form, and really lean into the history. You'll lose money because you're not going to have as many rides and not as big a capacity, but I think it really leans into the history there.
Well, you know, that brings up an idea that I had earlier in the show that I forgot I wanted to mention, and that is, so a few years ago, Disney created this thing with their DEI program called the Stories Matter Group. Now, Stories Matter Group wasn't about stories mattering at all. It was about, oh my gosh, there is a tiny little snippet of people somewhere we are going to absolutely offend if we keep this thing in the park. And that's basically what the Stories Matter Group became. I feel like Disney would be very smart if they created another group of cast members, a team of people whose job it was to preserve the historicity of the parks, to preserve Walt's legacy, and at the expense of knowing, you know what, you're not going to please everybody all the time, no matter what. You cannot do it, because if you cater to one group of people, you're probably offending another group of people. Who's got the police?
Oh, sorry, it's me. It's Mexico City.
Oh, okay. I was like, what's going on here? Anyhow, no, but so you can't do it, right? You cannot please one group of people without offending another group of people somewhere else. That is the world we live in. We live in a social media world where everybody complains about it, everybody fights about it online, and the Magic Kingdom and Disney parks has always been about bringing people together, people of different groups, but you don't bring people together of different groups by highlighting the differences.
Right.
You bring people of different groups together by highlighting what all of you love. And that's what has bothered me, is that there have been things that they've been doing in their movies, messaging in their parks, that have been ostracizing certain people by highlighting certain things about certain groups that people don't like. And the moment you do that, you're not being inclusive, you're being divisive. And I would like the Disney parks, for example, one of the big rules, everybody knows this, in a Disney park, you are not allowed to display a political flag. You can't.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you cannot bring in a banner. Like you can wear your own T-shirt that says, "Hey, I support this candidate" or whatever, as long as it's not an offensive T-shirt. But you cannot bring in a banner and unfurl it. People have done so, and they've gotten kicked out of the parks for it. For example, whether they dropped a Trump 2020 flag or whatever across the side of the Mark Twain, which I think happened at one point in time. They got kicked out of the park for that. You don't do that kind of stuff. You don't put in some type of any messaging that's going to make anybody feel uncomfortable. And Disney used to be so good about ironically, before the inclusion key came about, they were so good about being inclusive to everybody, and everybody felt welcome there. And now I think there's a lot of people who don't feel nearly as welcomed at the Disney parks. And especially, and I think Steve brought this up, since they changed the Disney look. It's not about, guys having beards, but if you go into Walt Disney World and you see a cast member and they got a big old tattoo of Bugs Bunny on their leg, and you see that, you're like, wait a second, we're at Disney World and you're advertising Bugs Bunny on your leg. That's a little, it's off-putting.
You used to be able to suspend reality, and now reality has found its way right into all of the Disney parks, and I think that really takes away from the magic that used to be there.
Exactly. The sign says you're leaving behind the real world and you're going to this world of yesterday, today, fantasy, and the future, and whatever. And that is not nearly as prominent as what it used to be. I remember walking down Main Street. I don't know if they have this, Bob, in Disneyland. Do they have the Main Street characters? Just the strolling citizens of Main Street out there?
They don't have the strolling citizens, but they do have entertainers and bands that come out and play. But yeah,
they still have Dapper Dans, I would imagine.
Yep.
We still have the Dapper Dans, but there used to be, and I think they had this in Disneyland too. They used to have citizens of Main Street, like they were dressed like the early 1900s, and
the mayor and such. Yeah, I almost
they
forgot
haven't
about
had
that.
anything like that in a long time.
Well, Disney's really keeps progressing. Like on all your parks, you can progress, but you need somehow to always have a hold of your history. And the original Disneyland is maybe a place they can just take a stand and say, we're going to keep this somewhat historic. And I don't know.
Well, all I can say is that if they keep going this direction, they keep getting rid of the past, because it might offend two people out there. I think that they're going to continue to ostracize more and more of the audience. When you look at Epic Universe, it's not competition with the Magic Kingdom because it's a very different type of place, but it is going to draw people away from the Magic Kingdom, because if you can't get from the Magic Kingdom that nostalgic magic that once existed, if people feel like that's gone, if people feel like it's just another IP land or IP world, well, they're going to go to the ones that are going to do it better. And Universal is definitely doing the IP stuff better. You look at the Harry Potter world. Every time I go into Diagon Alley, I'm like, wow, I'm blown away by Diagon Alley. And then you go into Star Wars fan fiction land, and it's not the same. Like you see the Millennium Falcon sitting there, and you're like, okay, but if the Millennium Falcon's there, and I'm supposed to be getting in the Millennium Falcon, why am I entering over here? Oh my God. I mean, there's just certain things.
There's just no life in those areas. You know, you go to Isle of Berk, then you got Vikings around, you got the dragons around. It feels like it's a living, breathing land. And that's a problem with a lot of the things over at Disney now, is that you don't have these living, breathing lands. Like they're beautiful. They know how to definitely, do the whole, land itself and make you feel like you're in that movie. But then there's nothing really keeping you there to go, whoa, this is really cool. I need to stay here. It's just like, oh, neat. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, it's like the wand interaction. Just the simple thing of having that wand interaction in Harry Potter land. I mean, you look at the kids doing it, and they're like, the kids with the wands and the Harry Potter capes and the stuff, and they're interacting and they're making things happen. I mean, to see their faces. You could go to Galaxy's Edge, and you don't have as many kids, and what you do have is adults walking out of Oga's Cantina having had too much to drink, and that's the unfortunate difference that I see. But we are going to move on for this. I have one last story that I want to get to that I want to put on the screen, and I mentioned it earlier. It is outofthatparkplace.com. Let's see if I can get it on the screen. Let's see. I gotta get rid of the other one. Still learning how to do this part of it.
Oh, folks. Take your time.
Yep. And here it is. All right. Outofthatparkplace.com. James Gunn confirms Superman is about politics. Why? Why? And the decline of American kindness. And here's the irony. wait for the hypocritical statement to come up. James Gunn says it's about the decline of American kindness, and then says, "Screw them to the jerks who get offended." So it's about, we need to be more kind to people, but I'm about to not be kind to all the people.
Yeah.
Could you be more hypocritical within like 2 seconds? This is, of course, by a good friend, Marvin Montanaro. There is David Corenswet's version of Superman with mere days to release. Director and DC Studios co-head James Gunn has finally said the quiet part out loud. Yes, the new Superman movie is about politics.
Oh my goodness!
I know.
Okay, this just says to me they weren't able to cut the politics out. They must have put a lot of it, and it's about to premiere. And they did a good job in the promotion to kind of move away from politics. At least I thought. And I was kind of wondering how much politics is in it. He must have had to admit it because people are about to see the movie now.
Yeah. In other words, guess what, folks? We've hit it until now. And we're not going to anymore.
What a statement to make right before you release the movie into theaters.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Man.
Maybe not the best idea. In a new interview with the Times of London, Gunn opened up about the themes at the heart of his DC Universe reboot, and he made it abundantly clear that this version of the Man of Steel won't shy away from commentary. I mean, Superman is the story of America, Gunn said, though it should be noted that Gunn and DC have taken extreme care to omit Superman's classic American way motto from the film's promotion. And what they're talking about there, of course, is that the original Superman, his big motto is, what do you stand for, Superman? I stand for truth, justice, and the American way.
That's what I was going to say. Because the Christopher Reeve version was much better.
I have a story about Christopher Reeve, actually.
Yeah, no, shoot.
I used to work at a little bar across from the main hotel where everybody all the actors used to work in Vancouver, and I knew the concierge pretty well. And he said, way back in the day when Christopher Reeve had his incident, he was staying at the Sutton Place Hotel in Vancouver, and my buddy was the concierge. So Christopher Reeves was just leaving the hotel, and he was going to hop in a cab, and he was talking to my buddy, and he said, "Oh man, I'm supposed to have this horse riding event show thing at my next location, but I forgot my saddle out in Abbotsford, which is kind of close to Vancouver." But he says, "I can't make it in a taxi. I guess I'm just going to have to cancel the event." And my buddy said, "Well, no, I'll drive you. I'll drive real fast. We'll get your saddle and I'll drive you directly to the airport." And he did. And the sad thing was that next event is where Christopher Reeves kind of had that incident with the horse. And if my buddy would have never drove him to get a saddle, he would have actually ended up canceling that event.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that story always kind of stuck with me. And I could only imagine how it stuck with my friend.
Well, I mean, I just have to think that things do, unfortunately, sometimes play out in such a way that somebody somewhere is learning lessons from them or something. Christopher Reeve ended up, even in his condition, being an extreme inspiration for so many people. And I don't know.
Even in his condition, he was Superman for all of America for generations.
Yeah, and I think, I think of him, and now more recently, I think of Jeremy Renner and what he went through. And of course, Jeremy Renner's, more interestingly enough, his character Hawkeye had no superpowers, but in real life, Jeremy Renner has literally become a superhero. He did something that I don't think anybody else would have survived. I mean, he literally talks about the accident where his eye is out of his head and he sees his eye with his other eye, and it's like, oh my gosh, how did he just keep the will to stay alive? That is a true Superman in real life. So James Gunn goes on, and he says, speaking of Superman, he's an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country. But for me, it's mostly a story that says basic human kindness is a value and is something we've lost, Gunn said. This statement has stoked the fears of many that Superman will serve as a cultural and political progressive parable rather than a traditional action-driven escapist superhero film. While Gunn frames the conversation between Clark and Lois from the trailer, in which they argue over Superman's actions overseas, to be one of compassion, it's unmistakably wrapped in the language of modern political narratives, particularly on the topic of a moral standing. Superman politics are front and center. The decision to frame Clark Kent's journey as a metaphor for immigration isn't new, but the Times interview put Superman squarely in the crosshairs of today's deeply divided political landscape. When asked about how audiences might react to the film's themes, Gunn didn't hold back. Yes, it plays differently, but it's about human kindness, he said. And obviously, there will be jerks out there who are just not kind and will take it as offensive just because it is about kindness, but screw them. Okay, so you're literally
do you think this
kind.
is sorry, do you think this is why they didn't release it on July 4th? Because this would have been the perfect movie if it didn't have politics to release on July 4th.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and the other thing about that is, let's be honest. If even with the politics, would not that have maybe even served it being released on July 4th for some people in the country, depending? But the problem is, if you're going to go with a message like this, it's very likely going to be a divisive message. Why do you want that in a Superman movie? Again, just like theme parks, Superman is a character that everybody should be able to get behind. He is about, even if he's not about the American way, I mean, he could say he's about truth, justice, and peace, or he's about, truth, justice, and doing the right thing, or whatever. It bothers me that we cannot have a Superman who's just Superman. It feels more like a reflection of the director, and Marvin Montanaro is a really good writer, and one of the things he talks about in writing is that don't put yourself into the character. Write the character for the character's sake, because the character is not you. And we have, you look at a lot of especially superhero films lately have been all about the director, all about the writer, and they're not about the character. And you look at Ironheart, my gosh. Has anybody in here on this panel watched Ironheart?
I swipe left.
No, I'm trying not to.
Yeah, same here.
All right, so I watched all of it, and the reason I watched all of it is I was very interested in the character of the Hood, and I wanted to see what they did with that. What I didn't realize is that there is no part of the story in which Ironheart actually becomes a hero ever, and I'm serious about that. There is a 6-episode story of her actually becoming more and more and more of a villain, and I'm like, where's the hero in this story? So this girl at age 15 was smart enough that she got a full ride scholarship to MIT. She was able to use her brain and technology to create an Iron Man-like suit, and then she had the help of Wakanda and all this other stuff she got going for her. And then at the beginning of this, she gets kicked out of MIT because she is basically selling tests and helping other kids cheat so she can make money on the side. And then she goes back to Chicago, and instead of using her technological skills to maybe go to work for a company and probably earn, I don't know, 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 her first year, she's already got the skills to do it. Instead, she wants to keep all the ideas and the technology and everything to herself. So she goes to work for a gang of people who are led by a guy who's literally made a deal with the devil. And then by the end of it, she makes the deal with the devil. And I'm not kidding. It's the MCU devil. That character is Mephisto. And Mephisto is in this, and people have been wanting him to show up since WandaVision, because he's behind a lot of that kind of stuff in the Marvel universe. And he shows up played by Sacha Baron Cohen, and it's really a letdown of who he is. And then you're going, why is, of all people, is Ironheart making a deal with it? By the way, her technology ends up being powered by this dark energy that can only be explained by this energy is summoned from hell.
You're convincing me. I'm glad I didn't watch it.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And then, of course, if you have watched it and you criticize it, what are they going to tell you? Well, oh my gosh, you're criticizing it because of race. But I'm like, are you kidding me? Every person you have of the BIPOC people in this, none of them are good people. They're all bad people. They're all off. Their characters as human people are awful. They're selfish. They don't treat each other nice. Like, why would you do that? It didn't make any sense. So, bringing it back to the Superman story, I think the political messaging is ridiculous. Please leave it out of our superhero stories, Hollywood. Can you do that for us? I think, would anybody disagree with me on the panel no?
No, I mean, they need to keep commentary out. I mean, just give us a good story with good characters, and the message will be found in those. We don't need anything else, and that's the problem with a lot of the movies today.
I just think that movie industries just stay neutral, just stay in the middle, just make some good films so we can actually go see it.
The mainstream middle, the sensible center where money is made, is what WDW Pro would say. And I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to thank you for all the support. Ruby Hoove, thank you for the gifted membership. Kit Kat with the $5 chat coming in there, and Go and Shogi with the 5 gifties, as well as Nat of Matt and the Guy. Thank you for the 50 Mexican pesos. And wish you could have been here I wish you could have been here as well. We would love to have you, but we also love to celebrate that with all that support. So this is our longer celebration. For those of you who haven't been here before and haven't seen this one yet, I want to thank all of you for that support and everybody for being here. So if you are a member of the channel, get your custom emojis ready. If you're not, dance emojis, heart emojis, celebrate along with us. We love to have fun. Let's say thank you and celebrate.
Too much? Too much? It's perfect! Wahoo!
Oh, this is so nice. Give me a break. I couldn't be more excited. Okay, this anticipation is making me mental. But if they say yes, you can be on the show. I think I would go so crazy.
Oh my goodness, guys. Thank you everybody for being here. We're going to redirect you over to the pro show, but I want to give everybody on this panel the opportunity to shout out whatever it is that you want to shout out, your channels. Where can people find you? We're going to start over here with Dan from Dan's Life at the Kingdom.
Hey guys. Yeah.
Where can they find you, Dan? Dan's Life at the Kingdom. What do you do?
Yeah, you can find me at Dance Life at the Kingdom on YouTube, and I haven't got any plans out. I'm gonna be going to Epcot on Wednesday with my folks for a cast member preview, and Ron, you're coming with me. And then next week, I'm gonna be at Disneyland for a week.
All right, out in your area, Bob. So you might run into Bob from Berry Place 28, not 98. I don't know why I said 98 earlier. Bob, tell us about your channel, where people can find you, your live streams, and all the fun things that you do.
Sure. You can find me at Berry Place 28 on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. You can also find me on Park Streamers. That's the other show I have with Theme Park Casual, who's in the chat, and Courtney in California. We do a bi-weekly show every couple weeks, and we have some amazing guests, just like we just had Eddie Sato last Monday. And we've had, we've had Chris Merritt, and we've had Don Hahn, and we've had some amazing guests. So definitely come check us out, because we're always having something good. And you'll probably find me on the T3PO show every so often. Hopefully I'll be on there tomorrow with Vashkai and Lou and whoever else, shows up. But thank you so much for having me on the show. And Dan, when you come out to Disneyland, let me know. We'll have to, get together and hang out if you want.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, cool. Jess, from Jess Hart's Theme Parks in her lovely living room.
It's fake. It's digital. So definitely check out my YouTube channel. It's Jess Hart's Theme Parks. You can find me at the same name on Instagram, on X, and on Facebook. I'd love to hear from everybody. Just say hi. Right now, being up in Ohio and being a former employee at Cedar Point, you'll see a lot of Cedar Point content for people who like the roller coasters and all the thrill rides up here. And then, like I said, in about a year, hopefully I'll be down by you guys with lots more theme park content down south.
Hey, obviously when you get here, please come look us up. But I get there. There we go. And last but not least, of course, the awesome guy from Nat and the guy. Tell us about your channels. There's more than one.
Yeah. Well, Ron, thanks for having us on. And I do like the guest appearance you had from Culture Casino and the Bear Suit. That being said, I have Nat and the Guy in Espanol. We got a lot of subscribers there, but we're trying to grow our English channel. So it's Nat and the Guy in English. We're just starting to make content for that. If anybody could subscribe, it would be a big help. We're at 250 subscribers. We're trying to get to 1,000 so we can monetize and do it more permanently. And again, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. We love having you, especially with a similar situation. You may very well know my wife is from Venezuela, so we of course have a bilingual household as well. And it's really funny to listen to her now AI translated YouTube videos because when she does Spanish and I listen to them in English, the voice is really different. So it's funny for me because I'm like listening here, I'm like, that's not what she sounds like at all when she's speaking English, but it's pretty funny. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all of you in the chat, your awesome support. Let's send you over to WDW Pro. Anybody that's going over from here to WDW Pro, let them know that you came from Follow the Bradleys Fun and you were saying hi from us. And until next time, again, everybody, thank you so much, and we will see ya real soon. Bye, everybody. Ciao.